Hello, everybody. This is the fourth installment of the Hometown Heroes Speaker Series in Hauppauge Schools. It's really been my pleasure the last few months to invite in some local heroes for an interview, and it's always great when we have students with us in the audience. So we have Mrs. Govitz's class and Miss Braglia's class, right? First and fifth in that order, right? And we're going to spend a little time together where I'm going to interview my guests here, who I'll introduce and read their bios in a minute. And then are there questions that may come from the students today? Possibly. We'll see what happens. There may be time for questions as well. But just a little background for the audience and for my friends here sitting in front of us. Really, why we're doing this came out of an effort, district-wide effort, that extended through a lot of other events that you all may be familiar with. So throughout the year, we have parades and we have assemblies where we honor our heroes, right? So that may be veterans of the Army and Navy and the Air Force, Marines, our armed services, Coast Guard. And then we also have our Hometown Heroes parades where we're talking to police officers and firefighters, first responders, right? So that's intentional from the district, because we think it's so important that our students are able to learn from those with wisdom who are here right in our community. So we have two individuals with us today who know Hauppauge really well. I think they may even know a couple of individuals in the audience in front of us. And that's, again, on purpose, because we think that boys and girls can learn about service and about giving back right here in our community. We don't need to even think about trying to make this complicated. We have role models right here. So that really is what started this speaker series. We started at the middle school, and then we went to the high school. We went to Bretton Woods. We're here today, and then we'll be going to Pines Elementary School as well. Good? That makes sense, right? All right, good. So I'm actually going to read directly from my papers here, and I'm going to just tell you a little bit about our two guests. So I'm going to start here to my right with Mike Buscarino, Mr. Buscarino. He has dedicated his life to service, served as a police officer for 28 years, and continues to serve, beginning in the New York Police Department in New York City, before moving to Suffolk County, where he has worked since the year 2000. Rising through the ranks in the department, serving in various capacities and roles, including, Police Academy instructor, sergeant of the recruiting training section, and lieutenant at the 6th Precinct. He currently serves as lieutenant of the Internal Affairs Bureau, which I think is a new role, right? And he also performs patrol functions for the Nissaquag Village Police Department. That's actually near where I live. So Mr. Buscarino actually is serving as a police officer over where I call home. His commitment to service extends beyond law enforcement into the heart of our community. He serves as a trustee on the Hauppauge Board of Education. I won't put you on the spot, but I think we're almost at the 10-year mark in total.
Close, yeah.
Right? So what that means, being on the Board of Education, is he's part of a team. There's 7 board members who I answer to. So they're like my bosses, right? Mr. Buscarino has served in that capacity for a number of years. In this role, he collaborates with the fellow board members, myself, community members, to shape policy, oversee budgets. So budget means like dollars and cents, money that helps to buy the computers that you see here, the smart boards, the Chromebooks. That's really thanks to Mr. Buscarino and other members of the board. His dedication to our schools reflects his deep belief in giving back to the community, and that's been embraced by his own family. Mr. and Mrs. Buscarino are proud members of the Hauppauge community and have 5 children that have attended or are currently attending our schools. And I think we have even one special guest in the audience. Caitlin, can you raise your hand? Caitlin Buscarino. She's in 5th grade here at Forest Brook and is in our audience. So can you help me, boys and girls, to welcome Mr. Buscarino, Caitlin's dad?
Thank you.
And now Mr. Hansen. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Robert Hansen, has served in the military for over 28 years. Similar, right? It said 28 a minute ago about Mr. Buscarino. He comes from a family of military service. He enlisted in the U.S. Air Force as a firefighter in January of 1998. While assigned to rescue and recovery efforts at Ground Zero following the 9/11 attacks, he discovered the Army Warrant Officer Flight Program, and he began making the transition from blue to green. Right, that's about your uniform, right? Mm-hmm. Police officer to being in the armed services. He graduated from the U.S. Army Flight School in 2005, and soon afterwards began his career as an Aero Scout pilot. Aero Scout pilot? How do I say it? Aero Scout pilot, sorry. In 2008, 3-142 AHB deployed to Iraq, where he served as the Aviation Safety Officer. CW5 Hansen flew over 500 combat hours during that deployment. So this refers to the 3rd Battalion, 142nd Attack Helicopter Battalion, when I said 3-142, right? So 3rd Battalion, 142nd Attack Helicopter Battalion. This unit was sent to Iraq in 2008, also in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Amazing. And then from 2011 to 2017, he served as the BCO, am I saying
Company? Bravo Company.
Bravo Company 3-142 AHB standardization pilot. Good. His last assignment was as the battalion standardization officer for 3-142 AHB. Currently resides in Hauppauge, as we know, with his supporting and loving wife, Erin, and his 2 sons, Griffin. Where's Griffin? There he is. And Theodore, who's in pre-K. Am I right? In the building. Awesome. Griffin in his 1st grade class, Griffin just had his hand up, are in the audience this afternoon as well. So how about a warm welcome for Mr. Hansen? All right, so we're going to get right into this, right? And I always love, boys and girls, when my guests come from kind of two different backgrounds, 2 different roles, right? So we have police officer and we have member of the armed services. So we get like 2 different lenses we can look through here, and that the common lens is service, right? Giving back and serving your community or your country. So we're gonna. I told these gentlemen I'd take it easy on them. I'm going to ask them some questions to get us going. I'm going to start with you, Mike, if that's all right.
Sure.
And the question is, you have 2 groups of students out here. I think we have 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds, and maybe there's a couple variations there. It's a long time ago for me too. But when you think back when you were their age. Did you know that you wanted to be a police officer someday? Do you remember what your thoughts were at that time in elementary school?
I do. I have vivid memories. My favorite pastime was playing cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians. That was always gave me enjoyment. I didn't always want to necessarily be a police officer. One of the things that intrigued me about the thought of going to law enforcement was that I wouldn't be stuck behind a desk. So that was something that really drew me to it, in addition to the type of work you're doing, helping others. There was a short time that I wanted to be a chef, because that's another pastime that I truly enjoy. I love cooking. So I did, as I got a little bit older, probably 10, 11, 12, and getting into high school, I honed in on the fact that I knew for certain that I wanted to be a police officer.
Boys and girls, just hands in the air. You ever play cops and robbers? All right, so maybe we have some future police officers here today. I will say I definitely played cops and robbers. I also remember the clear bags of Army men growing up, the green little Army men. Do you guys know the Army men you could get at this? Okay. Anyone play with those as well? So same question to you. common denominator here is, again, our kids. Did you have any idea where your life would take you?
I
when you
did.
were there?
I always kind of wanted to be a pilot. My mother said when I was still on the changing table, we had like a picture of military aircraft, and I was able to say that's an F-16. That's
Oh, my goodness.
at a very young age. So I've always wanted to be a pilot. And coming from a military family, my father was in the military. Both my grandfathers were in the military. It was kind of the family business. So.
Impressive. And when it comes to your dad and you said your grandparents, both
Both.
were they in some conflicts that we may know
Both
about?
my grandparents were in World War II.
Wow.
One was in the division that I serve in now, the 42nd Infantry Division. So that's pretty neat. And my mom's dad was in the Navy.
Amazing. Anybody would just show of hands. When he says the Navy, do we know what that is? Yeah. Yep. And the Air Force is what? In the back. Flying, right? And helicopters and fighter jets and such? Good. All right. So I'm going to stay with you, and then we'll go back to Mike. Now, obviously, you've been, like your bio reads, a veteran for many, many years. There may be lots of answers to this question, but something about your service, your time, that may surprise the boys and girls here in the audience.
I think similar to Mike here, I didn't want to be behind a desk, but as I progress further in my career, I find myself behind a desk more than I'm behind a cockpit. But I still enjoy the work that I'm doing. So it's more on a policy level, writing standards and procedures. On this last deployment I was on in 2023, the first time I had kids being deployed, so that was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a much different deployment than my previous ones, having children. But I was in charge of a crisis response aviation task force, and I was out at the embassies doing work with the embassies. So really not much flying, but a lot of good work was still being done.
Were you always okay, getting up into an airplane, like never have, the butterflies in your stomach, or is that something you just learned to deal with?
I think you just learn to deal with it. You learn how to handle that anxiety and channel it.
The jets that you've been on, or the helicopters, they fly a lot faster than, boys and girls, who's been on a plane before? Is it a lot different in terms of speed and
A little slower than a commercial plane for sure, but
Okay.
faster than some of the small planes you see around here.
and you've been an actual pilot? Mm-hmm. Amazing. Mike, same question to you. Just something that I know you've had a few roles, in the police force in New York City and out here in Suffolk. Something that may surprise them about your job or past jobs?
Well, police work can be boring. It's a lot of times you're just waiting for bad things to happen or for somebody to call and need your help. And you do spend a lot of time waiting. So that was definitely something that while I was pleased that I
Right.
was going 24/7, that was one thing that definitely did surprise me. But you need to be ready at any moment for that phone call for help and to be able to kick it in high gear and do whatever you need to do.
Right. So when we used to play cops and robbers, or they do, you're not really baking in time of just waiting around.
Right.
It's all action
Yeah.
when we're playing. So let's go to the flip side. Are there moments in your career that just come to mind that are just like incredible moments that you were involved in, whether helping somebody or being part of a team that did something special that you could share with the group?
Well, I would say that the trajectory of my career has kind of changed the definition of service. So the first half of my career, I was a patrol officer. I answered 911 calls, much like I do when I'm working in this squad still. My main function was to just answer 911 calls and handle accidents and things of that nature. So that was service to me, helping the community members. Then when I went to the academy, service became something very different to me. Service became being involved in taking people that were in my shoes before I started and training them to become police officers. So taking people from all different walks of life and teaching them what it means and how to become a police officer and provide service to others in their community and how to do it efficiently and safely. So I then became serving other members of the police department.
You've always had a pair of handcuffs as part of being a police officer?
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a bad guy whose like wrist was so big you couldn't even put the handcuffs on him?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I was thinking of like well, who's like a famous wrestler who's really big? Well, he's a famous boxer. Triple H? John Cena.
John
You think
Cena.
it would be tough to put handcuffs on him?
Sometimes you need to use more than one set. Yeah.
Oh, you can connect the handcuffs. See? That's smart.
Yeah.
Thank you for that little anecdote. Bob, something from your career that you look back on where you came to the rescue and helped somebody, or maybe it's more than one person. Anything that comes to mind that stands out?
Yeah, so part of our job is to go fight our country's wars, but it's also to help our people. And in 2017, we went to Puerto Rico for Hurricane Maria. We put our helicopters on these big jets, and we flew down there, and we helped the people of Puerto Rico for a month. So a lot of the villages were wiped out. They couldn't get supplies, so we flew supplies and doctors in. We rescued some people from the roofs. It was a really meaningful mission for us.
So with the helicopters, because we've been fortunate enough, Mike has actually helped on special events throughout the year to have the Suffolk County helicopters fly above. Are the helicopters you're talking about bigger than those?
They are.
And so the planes must be enormous if you could put those helicopters on a plane and then the plane flies.
Yeah, we could put 3 of our helicopters. We fold the rotor blades and stuff, and they kind of squat down a little bit, but we can fit 3.
Amazing. So, boys and girls, does anyone want to raise their hand and ask one question about the helicopter? Something that comes to mind? What's up, bud?
How hard is it to fly one?
How hard is it to fly the helicopter?
They teach us very well, and it's hard in the beginning, but it becomes second nature.
Are there weapons on the helicopters?
There are.
Like what kind of weapons?
On the current helicopter I fly, we just have machine guns. But on the previous ones I flew, we had rockets and missiles and a heavier machine gun.
One more question, the guy in the green there with your hand up. Yeah, that's you.
You need those like vests to those vests like that.
Like bulletproof vests? Those kind of?
We do. We wear an armored vest that has a big plate on the front that can stop some bullets, and then we have a vest of all of our survival equipment in case we have to land somewhere we don't want to be and have to evade. So it has things like water and medical supplies and fire starters, fish hooks, things like that.
And Mike, the police officers have vests as well, right?
Yes.
Can you tell them a little bit about your uniform when you were in uniform?
Yep, it's much like Rob was saying. We put it on under our uniform shirts, and it has a hard plate in the middle that it gives you more protection from small arms fire, pistols, handguns.
Are they heavy?
They can be heavier. Seems like in the summer than it is in the winter.
Makes sense. So I'm going to stay with you a sec, Mike. So, I think we've all been scared in life at different times, right? Depending on where you are in your life, different things can scare you. I remember being scared at a scary movie growing up. But when we think of our heroes and you're out there and you're protecting us, do you ever get scared?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
And so how do you deal with that? Like, what would you want the boys and girls to know about how you handle that?
Well, you have to train yourself to overcome it. You know that you have a purpose and you have a job to do, and you can't let that moment of fear stop you from doing that work, because you know that whatever fear you might be feeling, you think about the feelings that those people are having that you're going to help. So your fear has to be much less than their feelings, so you just overcome it and make sure you get to them and help them in any way you can.
So the message there is we all have fear, and once you kind of accept it, you can get through that.
Absolutely.
And you can do whatever you put your mind to, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm assuming same for you, Bob? You must
The
have
exact
fear.
same. Yeah, absolutely. You just gotta, you rely on your training. And then as we get more senior too, I know it's probably a police thing as it is a military pilot thing, is people are looking up to you and your guidance and your leadership. So if I seem nervous or I answer the radio with some urgency in my voice, it changes the way that my guys are thinking about things. So I want to be the calmest guy out there, at least on the outside. I could be really struggling inside, but I'm going to portray calmness.
Nobody wants to be led by somebody that looks nervous.
Exactly.
Well, and I think that's something that certainly I see, and I'm sure our students see. It always appears there's like a stoicism, there's just a confidence when you see people who serve. And that, since you're so calm and confident, it makes us all feel better, right, when we're around people like that. You mentioned your boys, right? So you're talking about your team. Can you talk a little bit about just the importance of teamwork, particularly, you're dealing with, right, sometimes life and death matters through the years. How do you guys prepare as a team so that you are operating efficiently and working together?
So we train relentlessly, whether it's our maintainers who do the mechanic work on the helicopters or our flight operations people who support us. It's one big team effort. And then we train to master the basics of things. So we want to be the best as we can as the basics, and that's the foundation for everything that we can build on.
And on the team, so there's different ranks, right? Your rank was?
Chief Warrant Officer 5.
So how does it go above you? Who are the different?
As far as warrant officers go, I'm the highest warrant
the
officer
highest.
there is. Yeah.
So who would you answer to?
I answer to Colonel.
A colonel.
And generals.
Have you met colonels
Yes.
and generals?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I work for one still.
So, boys and girls, raise your hand if you're part of a team, maybe like a sports team or a dance team, right? Even in your classroom, would you say you're part of a team, right? And with your teacher as the colonel or the leader, right? So I think what you may have heard there is that when you work as a team, and you see this, we'll use a simple example on the soccer field or softball, if you're all kind of working together around the common cause, right, with something in mind to win that game, you're going to have the best chance for success. And you're hearing right now that's the same, even if you're in the armed forces. It's always about the team, right? Like in being unselfish, I would assume, right, is a big part of that.
Yes.
Same for you, Mike. You've been part of different teams. Maybe you could even share the terminology. Is it the precinct and the squads? And
So
share?
my last assignment as a squad lieutenant, I was in charge of my group of officers and sergeants that were covering the precinct that I work in the 6th precinct. So I was the officer in charge of the OIC as a lieutenant, and I had zone sergeants that worked below me that each had a series of 6 to 8 officers that worked for them. So that's kind of the hierarchy of it.
So they probably don't realize sometimes when they're driving with their parents, they're passing, right, the local precinct.
Mm-hmm.
What is that precinct, and how many police officers would you say are in that precinct?
Oh, there's a few hundred.
That's the 4th, right?
Yeah. There'll be a few hundred police officers in the 4th that work both in plain clothes and in uniform, and detectives work there as well.
And I don't know if you know this answer. How many precincts are there, like in Suffolk County?
Our police district has 7 precincts. So from the Nassau County border to Riverhead border and the Eastern Town borders is 7 precincts.
Someone raise their hand. How many schools are there in Hauppauge, in our district?
I don't know, like 3 or 5.
Well, I feel like you have 2 good answers there. So there's 3 elementary schools, and there's 5 total schools. 3 elementaries. What else?
5.
Middle school and high school. And there's actually one other building. Can someone raise their hand and tell me what that other building is, Caitlin? Whippoorwill. What's that? Who works out of that building? I work there with other members of the central office team. And there's actually some preschool students who are in that building as well. But I asked about the buildings because it hit me while Mr. Buscarino was talking about the number of precincts, right? We have a number of schools, so it's kind of similar, right? Schools and the precincts, and it's all about teams. Each school has its own team, just like the police officers have their teams. All right, Mike, I'm going to stay with you for a moment. So now I'm going to kind of bring it back to this school, to Caitlin, to your big family. What about Hauppauge? Like, if you had to just reflect, what made you decide I'm going to buy a house in Hauppauge? I'm going to raise my family here. I'm going to have my kids go to these schools. What about this community is meaningful to you?
Well, I think the sense of community, I think that's what many years ago intrigued us about the area. I didn't know much about it, but we were very happy as we did our research to see what a small, tight-knit community Hauppauge is, and we've been very happy to be a part of it ever since.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you remember we did the math on how many total years it may be that you've been connected to this district when you're finally, your youngest is through?
We're pushing high teens, low 20s, I think, last I counted.
Yeah, so that's real dedication to the community. And could you just share with the kids, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Huntington.
In Huntington, okay. Bob, same question for you. What about Hauppauge, drew you to this community and to raise your kids here, your family?
Yeah, so similar to Mike, we did our research, and just it's a great place to raise a family. It's a safe place to raise a family. The school districts are great. The sense of community is here, so it was everything we were looking for. So we're an important member to the Hauppauge community.
And you have Griffin here and Theodore, right?
Mm-hmm. Theodore.
What do you want them to know? Do you tell them a lot about what you do? Are there lessons that you impart? Like, would you want them to follow your career path?
Maybe in the Air Force or the Coast Guard.
Got it.
But yeah, I would. I think service is important. Sense of service.
And being a parent, obviously, has that changed you at all in your career as opposed to when you first started, when you didn't have kids? I think the answer is it must be, but how so?
I don't take as many chances as I used to.
And why is that?
Because of my children.
Right, so there's boys and girls, as you can imagine, there's a pressure that comes with being a father or a mother, that we're always thinking about our kids, right? And that can't help but play a role in the way we operate. Same for you, Mike?
Absolutely. It was interesting that one of the stories that I would share with recruits as you get a little farther into your training and get to open up and talk on a more personal level, I do share with them that you can single-handedly pinpoint the day where the perspective changes on the work that you do. And it's while it is still about cops and robbers and catching the bad guy, you have to think about it a little bit more smartly, because you have to make sure you're going home, and you definitely take less risks, like you said, Rob, because you got to make sure you get home to that little one.
Boys and girls, who's a Yankee fan? Raise your hands.
Yeah.
All right, in the back, who's your favorite Yankee player?
Well, I don't really watch the Yankees, but I like
Well, who's your favorite player? Come on,
Aaron Judge.
Would you say that he is a role model?
Yeah,
Why?
because you can inspire off of him when he makes like good hits.
So he's a great baseball player, and you look up to him, right? And any Met fans here? Anybody, hands down, a fan of another team other than the Yankees or Mets? Oh, we have some courageous hands up here. Well, who's your favorite team?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, soccer. You said Cristiano Ronaldo? Done. So here's a question for our guests. So when I was a kid, I looked up to, I loved Reggie Jackson. I loved Don Mattingly. Can you tell I was a Yankee fan? I'm trying to think of a Jet that I looked up to, but that's harder. I was a New York Jet fan as well. But as you get older, you realize that, although I love Aaron Judge as well, he's not a role model in terms of like the way I think of a role model now. So I'm gonna, if I can stay with you, Mike, like it could be even someone in your career that you looked up to, someone in your family, but do you have a role model that comes to mind?
I do. I have. I did not really grow up in my immediate family. I was the first police officer in my immediate family, but I did have an extended family, much older extended family that served careers in law enforcement, and I would often spend time with those cousins and uncles and aunts when I was little, when I was your age, and spending that time with them and hearing the stories, I definitely think
Impacted
that
you.
it impacted me, and it set my mind right on what I wanted to do.
So, Bob, the same question for you.
So I think when I was younger, some of my teachers were my role models. Sports, Mark Messier, Brian Leach. I'm a Ranger fan.
There you go.
And the Don Mattingly and Ricky Henderson.
Trottier and Bossy for me.
Okay.
I respect your names.
And as I got older, I was in a generational shift from the Vietnam helicopter pilots to the current one, so I was able to learn a lot and be around those guys who I really looked up to.
So that resonates with me. Boys and girls, does anyone have someone in your family who may be a police officer or a firefighter or in the armed forces that you look up to in the striped shirt? What about you, buddy?
Police officers?
Someone in your family?
Yeah.
Who?
Like my dad?
Your dad's a police officer. Whereabouts?
Africa.
That's okay. Do you think, does he drive a long ways to work, or is he closer, do you think?
It's like long.
It's what?
It's long.
A long drive. That's great. So do you look up to your dad?
Yeah.
Of course, right? Right here, with the little pink,
My
uh,
aunt.
your aunt. And what does she do?
It's a boy.
Your uncle.
Yeah.
Okay, what does your uncle do?
He's a police.
Police officer. Awesome. And in the way back, yep,
One of them is my aunt. She's a nurse.
she's a nurse.
My dad, he's a police officer.
Love it. Well, I saw so many different hands go up. Do we agree that they're all role models?
Yeah.
Right? We can find our heroes in our own families. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to slowly bring this podcast to a conclusion here in a couple minutes, and I wanted to do it and with our students in mind. So, advice for our students, and you can think of this as maybe planting a seed now, and it sounds like some of them may have these seeds planted within their own family. But if they're thinking about having a livelihood that involves service of any kind, what would you have them know, knowing that you were once their age and maybe thinking about it as well? First, you, Mike.
Well, I'll share advice that my mother told me as she learned that I wanted to become a police officer. She told me I could do whatever I wanted after I went to college. So I had to make sure I went to college and graduated college, and then she gave me the blessing to become a police officer. But one of the things that I decided in that mission to become a police officer is that you really don't have to study law or criminal justice. You can really study anything. So before I became a police officer, I actually ran a corporate fitness center for a shoe company, Nine West. And it really had absolutely nothing to do with law enforcement and a career in law enforcement. But it was something that I could do and that I still enjoyed in the event that I didn't have the opportunity to become a police officer.
And I'm sure that one of the common traits that you would agree with is no matter what you decide to do, even when you had that other job, it's hard work and dedication.
Oh, absolutely.
Will always get you noticed. Raise your hand if you're a fifth grader here today, right? You're gonna blink next year at the middle school. You're there for 3 years. Mr. Buscarino can tell you this. It flies by, and then you're going to be in the high school, and then you'll be thinking about college, right? So nothing wrong with starting to think about where do I want to go, right? And what do I want to study, even in high school where you have different options. So,
And it's okay to change your mind.
it's absolutely okay to change your mind, which I had a bunch of different careers before I ended up here in Hauppauge, so I can relate to that. Bob, same for you. Any bit of advice for our listeners here today, or in attendance, or listening on the podcast when it goes?
I think that that the little stuff matters. So, being organized, that'll help no matter what you do in life, or caring about others, having empathy, and being a leader, leading by example, that'll translate into whatever you want to do in life.
Boys and girls, here's a question for you. We're gonna wrap here in a minute. What's one thing that you learned today about either of our guests, or something that you're thinking about, or even if you're brave enough to ask a question, we'll take a question or two. So let's start over here. Yep.
They have to be on the mic.
Oh, right up here. Oh, you're first on the mic. Awesome. And can you just say your first name when you come to the mic?
My name is Ananiah. What risks did you guys have to take?
What was the question?
What risks did you guys?
What risks do you have in your job each day? It's probably tough to think about, but I know it's there.
Well, I'll give you a clean one. It's the snowstorm that we had last week that you were off from school for. Police officers were still going to work. So one of the risks that you have is that regardless of the conditions outside, whether it be a hurricane or a terrible storm, there's an expectation from the community that you work in that you're still going to show up and help them when you need it. So that is a risk that we take, and it is one that often police officers get hurt.
And also true, right, that throughout the year, every single minute of every single day, there are police officers who are working. So even if it's on Christmas Eve
Absolutely.
or on a birthday or a Thanksgiving,
Yep.
right? So that's one of the reasons why we're so grateful, because we can always feel safe and supported because they're always doing their job. Bob, same for you. I'm sure when it comes to risk through the years, there's a lot that you can speak
so
to there.
keep it clean too. Weather's a big deal for us. So like things that cause ice to form on the aircraft, or flying in the Middle East, there's a lot of dust from all the sand, and you can't just pull over to the side of the road. You have to, you gotta drive through it. So that's some of the risks that we do.
Have you ever jumped out of a helicopter or aircraft with a parachute?
No, nope.
Do you know people you've worked with who do that?
Yeah, some of our people that we support do things like that, but I try to stay in the helicopter.
I don't think raise your hand if that's something you think you could do someday. Jump out of a helicopter in a parachute, with a parachute. Wow, got some brave students here. Another question. Anybody want to come up to the mic? Sure, right here. Just watch the fingers there. There you go.
What is the biggest piece of advice that you guys would give to like a newcomer of one of your jobs?
And what's your name?
Virginia.
Thank you, Virginia. Bob, I want to start with you. A bit of advice for a rookie, so to speak, someone who's just entering.
Yeah, it's mastering the basics, and even the little things. Like we make the new guys, they have to bring in the bagels. They have to be the right amount of bagels, the right amount of cream cheese with the bagels and the coffee, things like that. But in seriousness, it's just master the basics and listen. We've all been in their shoes, and we can teach them something.
And even though you were joking, you were serious too. Why is that even important that the newcomers learn to? It's like a respect thing, right? That they're
It is, but
they're earning-
it's simpler too. Even like an officer candidate
Yep.
school, they make you do very, very dumb things.
Yeah.
Like, you have to itemize what clothes you have in your drawer, and there's all this busy stuff. But what it shows is attention to detail.
Yes.
And if you can follow instructions, so it does translate into being in the aircraft and doing things.
Sure. Mike, same for you.
I would say, first and foremost, work hard. No matter what you're doing, what you decide to do in life, work hard. I would say show up early. Be there well before you're expected to be there. and never stop learning. There's always an opportunity. 28 years into my career, I'm still learning every day. I'm asking questions every day. As my roles change, you're starting all over. You never be afraid to ask questions and learn.
I love that. And that's advice you could take, boys and girls, in the classroom, right? Our teachers, we don't expect you to get 100 on every test, but what we do want is for you to just do your best and work hard in whatever you do, right? So if you do that, your teachers will always appreciate that. If you're the student who's asking the teacher, can I help with something? Is there anything I could do to help another student? Those are traits that you can take with you, high school, college, and beyond, whatever your career is. Do we have time for one more question? Yeah. Okay. Right here with the glasses. Come on.
Did you, this is for both of you, did you ever have to chase after someone if they try to escape or use too much empathy and you had to go or something?
What's your name, buddy?
Frank?
Frank? Thank you. Thanks for the question. You want to start? Might have to
Sure.
chase after the robbers?
It's been a few years, but yes, I have. Definitely had to chase after bad guys earlier in my career.
Did it involve jumping over fences and through yards and
or
things?
through them, but yes.
And do you run as fast as you used to?
No, definitely not. I have other people that can run now.
And you've been involved in different conflicts overseas, so I assume that you've had to chase after the bad guys as well.
With
Yes?
my helicopter, and I drop people off to chase the bad guys or support them from the air.
Does the helicopter have all sorts of really sophisticated computer equipment where you can see what's going on all around you? Is that how that works?
Sophisticated as probably 20 years ago.
Got it. Newer helicopters have technology that
Well,
is-
we have new ones. It's just we date a little bit in technology, but it's got what we need on it.
Okay. All right. I think we'll do one last question because I kind of rushed that one a little bit. Actually, Mike, do you want to call on somebody?
Sure, go ahead, right there.
How many times a year are you away from home?
So because of your career, does it take through the years? I'm sure there's been ebbs and flows to this, but has it take you away from home?
Yeah, more than I'd like. Even now, we're home, but I'll have to go to Colorado to do some mountain training or go to Mississippi to support something. I'm probably gone maybe 3 or 4 days a month. And then in 2022 to 2023, I was gone for a whole year. And that was really hard.
Wow. Whole year away from home, training and
In Iraq and
in
Syria.
Iraq. Wow. Mike? what about
Well,
you?
I'm fortunate that I get to work close to home, but my job does require training also, depending on what roles I was playing throughout my years. So there have been times that I've been gone a week at a time to various different types of training.
And you also said, and I read, you work in Nissaquag as well, so
Yes.
your day sometimes is extended
Long,
because,
yeah.
yes. How many hours of sleep do you get on average?
I'm
Each
good for
night?
6.
6 hours of sleep,
That's my sweet spot, 6.
more or less,
It's about the
similar?
same, yeah.
Boys and girls, I'm hoping you learned a few things today. It's always really special for me to invite in, our guests who are not just guests, but are role models, are heroes, and who are right within our community. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Can you help me to give them one more Hauppauge, round of applause? And I want to say, part of what makes Hauppauge special, maybe the most important thing that makes Hauppauge special, is our kids. You guys were such a great audience. You paid such great attention. I know it's a long time to sit, but I could see that you were hanging on their words and interested. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the thoughtful feedback. So thank you so much. You've been a great group today. And tune in because this will be shown on the internet. Will be shown through Facebook and on YouTube, so you could actually see some of the footage from today at some point in the next few weeks. And then next month we'll be doing installment 5. Well, I can't believe we're up to our 5th installment, and we will be over at Pines Elementary, right? Okay, so thank you so much, Mike, Bob.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you being here. Thank you
Thank
for your service. All right. Take care, boys and girls.